In this video, I will be packaging Opera executable installation file into MSI file using WiX. The main reason for that is to deploy the software using group policy. I'm starting this video from my GitHub page, and that's because there are a few bits of information here that I will be using for this video, and I will leave the URL in the description down below. Also, in the bottom of the page, you can find more of my videos that are related to this topic. For example, here you can find videos about installing and using WiX, and then there is a video about psexec, and I will be using psexec to execute the MSI file installation under the system account, and that's to make sure that the installation is successful no matter what user I'm using to deploy the software. And now I will begin this video by downloading Opera executable installation file, and for that I will use the link that I have here. That brings us to the Opera download page. I will scroll down a bit because we cannot use the link right here. I will scroll down, and here we have Opera. I will expand it, and then I will download the 64-bit installer for the offline package. So I will click on it, and the download should start for us. Then I will go to my downloads folder, and here we have our executable. And the next thing that we need is the WiX configuration file, and for that I will go back to my GitHub page, and here I have a few configuration files. One of them is named Opera, and this is a complete configuration that you can check out if you want to, but for this video I will be using this one called template. So I will click on it, and then I will click the button right here to download the configuration. I will go back to my downloads folder, and then I will rename the configuration file. I will name it Opera. Then I will right click it, and I will open it with Visual Studio Code. You can use any other text editor to open this file. And as you can see, it's an XML file. Basically, it's instructions for WiX on how to package the MSI file for us. And when working with this configuration file, we only care about this part right here. Basically, here we need to fill in the information that is unique to this package and the Opera installation. And first we need to name our package. I will name it Opera installer. Then for exe we need to provide the executable name, and for that I will go back to my downloads folder where I have the executable. I will right click it, select rename, and then I will select the full name to include the extension because that's important. I will copy the name and then go back to Visual Studio Code, and I will paste in the value here. Then for the path we need to provide a location where we currently have our executable, and for me it's in my downloads folder. So in my downloads folder is in my D drive, so I'll type D and then downloads. I'm pretty sure that the location for you is different here. Then we need to provide silent arguments, and that's because we want the installation to happen silently. And for that I will go back to the GitHub page, and here I have all the necessary silent switches for the silent installation. So I will select them, I will right click and copy, go back to Visual Studio Code and paste in the value here. Then for the version number, we need to provide the version number for this MSI package, and it's unrelated to the software version number. But in most cases, I like to keep the same version for my MSI package as the software that it installs. So that's why I will select the version number from the executable, I will copy it, and then provide the value here. And publisher is not that important, but it's a mandatory field. So here I will enter, let's do automation. And the last parameter that we need to provide is GUID, basically a unique identifier for this package. And to generate a GUID, we can use PowerShell. Once again, back to the GitHub page. And here I have this PowerShell command that we can use. Once again, I will select it, copy it, and then I will open a terminal window, or you can open a PowerShell window. Then I will paste in the command and press enter. And as you can see, every time I'm using this command, I'm getting a new unique identifier. So I will select one of those values, go back to Visual Studio Code, paste in the value here. And that's it. That's all the necessary information that we need to provide to create our package. And to generate the MSI package, I will go back to my terminal. And here the first thing that we want to do is to change the location in our command line to the location where we have our WiX configuration file. And for me, it's my D downloads folder. So I'll type cd, D, and downloads. Press enter. If I type there, we can see here our WiX configuration file, and the Opera installation executable. Now to build the package, we need to type WiX build and provide the configuration file name. So it's opera.wxs and press enter. Now I will go back to my downloads folder and wait for the MSI package to be generated. And as you can see, the MSI file was generated successfully. So the last thing that we need to do is to see if the MSI file is working. So for that, I will right click on it, select copy, and I will go to my VMware workstation where I have a Windows virtual machine prepared. And here I have this software folder, so I'll open it and I will paste in the MSI file into this folder. And as you can see, I have my psexec executable in the same folder. And that's to execute the installation using a system account. So the next thing that we want is to open another command line in this virtual machine. So I'll go to my start menu, type cmd, and run it as administrator. We want to change our directory in our command line to the directory where we have our files. So for that, I will click here and copy the location. Then I will type cd, paste in the location. And if I write there, we can see our executables in this window. Also, if I type who am I, we can see that this command line is running under the user admin. So to change the user, I will use psexec and I will type psexec.exe -i for interactive, -s to launch a process under the system account. And to make it simple, I will just open another command line. So I will type cmd and I will agree with the license terms. And here I have another window, but this time if I type who am I, it is saying that this window right here is running under the anti-authority system user. This means that everything that I'm doing in this window, I am doing it as a system account. Once again, we want to change the directory in this window to the location where we have our executables. So I will type cd, paste in the directory and press enter. If I type there, we can see our files right here. Now to start the installation, I will type cmd/c. This is not necessary, but it allows us to see when the installation is fully finished just by looking at the command line. Then I will provide a MSI file name, so it's opera.msi, and I will perform the installation silently, so it's /qn, and I will press enter. Now let's wait a bit. And it seems that the installation is done. Here we have our Opera browser icon on the desktop, but let's first look around and see what happened in the control panel. So for that, I will type control. And here I will select uninstall a program. And here we have a list of our installed programs on this machine. And as you can see, we have Opera installer installed. That's published by Let's Do Automation. And here is the version number. And also we have the Opera itself installed. And we have two software entries here because we installed the MSI file. And then the MSI file installed the software for us. And it's possible to hide the Opera installer entry from this list. But if the installation fails for some reason and the installer is installed but the software fails to install, it makes the software installation troubleshooting unnecessarily hard. So that's why I like to leave it here. So now I will close this window right here and let's open Opera and see if it works. And it seems to be working just fine. And that's it for this video. Like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this, and see you in the next one.